Hey Podawans, welcome to the first episode of Star Wars Academy. Today we're going to take a look at Thrawn. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Alright, in today's episode we're going to take a look at Thrawn, like I mentioned. This is going to be a general overview, so if you're new and you want to check out Thrawn, there are going to be some light spoilers. And if you're really into Thrawn, there's a good refresher on everything that's happened to him in canon and where we are story-wise. Alright, let's get going. First up, Thrawn's real name, full name, Thrawn Yorodo, okay? That's his full Chiss name, but he goes with Thrawn because it's easier for people who speak basic in the galaxy to pronounce. He gets kind of picky with his pronunciation of his full name, alright? His race, Chiss, like I mentioned, they're from the unknown regions. Blue skin, red eyes, humanoid otherwise, but pretty much look like a human, red eyes, blue skin. All right, moving right along. His homeworld and the homeworld of the Chiss is Scylla. It's in the unknown regions. So the unknown regions is a part of space that really is unexplored, really tough to get out there because of different cosmic events that have made hyperspace lanes really tough to chart. So the Chiss has a whole setup, and they're a whole government and whole race out there, a whole region of space that they kind of run. But the Empire and the Republic really didn't touch it out there, so it's kind of them on their own. All right, the affiliations for Thrawn throughout his canon career right now. All right, he starts with the Chiss Ascendancy. That's the basic Chiss structure and their area of space. He was in the Chiss Expansionary Defense Fleet, which is basically their navy, if you will. All right, then we see him move on to the Galactic Empire and join the Imperial Navy. Okay, there's a lot. There's a lot of little things that go into this, but basically he fakes his exile. He is doing basic research on whether the Galactic Empire could help the Chiss Ascendancy in their overall battle against kind of some unknown threats to the Galactic Empire, but threats that are out in the unknown regions that the Chiss and Thrawn think are a pretty big deal for the galaxy as a whole. So he kind of infiltrates, if you will, but he's really working with the Galactic Empire and Emperor Palpatine to see if they're a worthy ally or if maybe they just leave them as bait to see what happens and then the Chiss can clean up afterwards. All right. His main adversaries in canon so far are Neville Signey, who is also known as Night Swan, the Rebels. Wasn't quite the Rebel Alliance as a whole when he's involved, but mainly the Ghost Crew. So you got Hera and Kanan, Ezra, Zeb, Chopper, Sabine. Those are the main rebels he deals with on Lothal, and that's kind of his interaction with that before he, as we'll get into it, disappears. And the third one, which is kind of that unknown threat that the Chiss are really dealing with, and that the Galactic Empire really doesn't know much about before Thrawn gets involved with them, are the Grisks. It's a race that might be loosely based on the Yuzong Vong from the Legends series of books, and they're pretty dangerous. They're out in the unknown regions. They're messing around with taking away hyperspace lanes, and they have gravity wells and cloaking devices, and they really kind of mind alter. They really get in the mind of their basic other races to get them in control and lead them into battle. So they're a pretty scary group. All right, so the positions and traits that Thrawn's really known for, okay? He has the rank of Grand Admiral. Obviously, he works his way up, but he eventually gets the rank of Grand Admiral, which is pretty much as high as you can go in the Imperial Navy before, obviously, the Empire, and then you have some special positions like Vader would probably be a little bit higher. But basically, in terms of everyone else, the rank of Grand Admiral is top of tops. And he's the only non-human of the 12 that we know of. His personal Imperial 1 class Star Destroyer is the Chimera. Okay, super unique. It's one of the only ones that I've seen in canon, and the only one described as having this unique artwork underneath that really makes it stand out, and it's kind of an intimidation factor. He is also, by the time of kind of where we are in canon, in his story, he has control, and he's the head of the 7th Fleet, all right? Pretty big fleet, pretty big armada, multiple Imperial 1 and 2 class Star Destroyers. You got some Gazantis, Interdictors, Arquintons. He's got it's a big fleet, and he's in control of it, led by the Chimera. So he has some serious naval power, and really is one of the highest ranking Imperials with the most power at the time. All right, what he's really known for, and kind of his separation among others, he is an absolute master tactician. His big things are he reads body language in conversations, and across hollows, anything he can get his hands on. He's really good at reading body language. So if you're lying, if you're nervous, anything like that, he usually picks it up. He does have some Chiss advantages because of his race. Other Chiss can do this too. They see a little bit more into the different light spectrums, so he can tell when someone's flushed and when there's heat moving to their face and stuff like that. So he does kind of have a little bit of a cheat code there. And his other big one that also comes from his origins in the Legends books is his artwork deciphering. It's really a big part of his character and how they build it. He'll take, so say he's going to battle. The Grisks are a bad example because he hasn't found a ton of their artwork, but if he's going to battle with someone, a lot of times he'll take their artwork and he can break down a lot of things of like how they're going to attack, if they're aggressive, if they lean back more, and learn a lot about a race, a culture, or even an individual from certain pieces of artwork. And he does this throughout his canon stories. It's really neat. Keeps him a step ahead. And then finally, kind of just his look and his demeanor is a big part of his character. The blue skin and glowing red eyes are super intimidating when he's in conversation, especially in the Imperial Navy, which is mostly just humans. So he has that differentiating factor that really intimidates some people. And his personality, pretty cold and analytical. It definitely makes him seem less empathetic to a lot of the things going on. So when he gets in conversations, he can really cut through any of the BS that people are trying to sell him and really just get down to what the decision needs to be made that's the best for the Empire and their position at the time. All right, that's pretty much our breakdown of Thrawn. Now, just to give you an idea of where you can find him, all right? In canon, he's in a trilogy of novels that are out now, being Thrawn, Thrawn Alliances, and Thrawn Treason. This takes him kind of, there's a little bit of a flashback in Thrawn Alliances, so you get a good portion of his story from when he first appears and meets Anakin Skywalker during the Clone Wars. It's toward the end of the Clone Wars, after Ahsoka leaves the Jedi Order, just for timeline-wise, and then all the way through his Imperial Navy career to his disappearance, or basically his disappearance at Lothal, which is roughly a couple of years before A New Hope. There is a comic adaptation of this, Thrawn 1 through 6. That's really neat to see some visualizations of some of these books. He's also in seasons 3 and 4, assorted episodes. He's a major player in seasons 3 and 4 of the Rebels animated TV show, and that brings him to life too. You get the voice; it's really neat. They did a great job, and that takes up to basically part of Treason is when he leaves in the middle of a season, and then up to his disappearance of where we know him now. All right. He is coming up. There's an upcoming novel. I believe it's a series of novels. First one being Chaos Rising. That so far has been said to be taking place in the past, kind of his time with the Chiss Ascendancy. So that should be interesting to build up even more of his character. He's also mentioned in Aftermath Empire's End. He is mentioned kind of in an abstract way when they're describing that the Empire was really looking into the unknown regions for his source of power. So Thrawn was a big part of helping him establish some footholds out there and how they traveled hyperspace. All right, and then really where he was created by Timothy Zahn with the original Legends novels, which are also, if you get through everything and you're really looking for some extra Thrawn, and Thrawn's your favorite, the Legends novels are really great. This is where he was created. It's slightly different timeline-wise, because he really takes place after the Emperor dies in Return of the Jedi in Legends, whereas canon he disappears before A New Hope because of continuity things. But in Legends, the original trilogy was Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command, a great series. He is then, I don't want to completely spoil it, but his personality and really that storyline continues into the Hand of Thrawn duology, which is called Spectre of the Past and Vision of the Future. Those are also really good. He's in Outbound Flight. And he also is in a novella called Crisis of Faith that I believe is included in some versions of the Hand of Thrawn duology that you can get. All right, so that's all we have on Thrawn. That's kind of the 10,000 foot view of why he's important in canon. Stay tuned for our next episode. I'll catch you later, Podawans. Bye.